Please come.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Have a seat.
Thank you,
Anunay.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Anunay, you are from Muzaffarnagar.
Yes, sir. Muzaffarpur.
Muzaffarpur,
Yes.
sorry, Bihar.
Yes.
Chemical engineering.
Yes.
Geography is your optional. And you are fond of volleyball, football. And you have remained manager of team event also.
Yes.
Okay. So, Anunay, first of all, I would like to ask you that having taken geography as your optional, there are certain advantages of greenhouse gases. Advantages. But those advantages have now become disadvantages. Can you tell me what exactly is the position and which is the major constituent of the greenhouse gases?
So greenhouse gases are often used for farming in remote areas. Greenhouse farming use. This is the positive of greenhouse gases. How it warms the planet and maintains the temperature. But because of industrial revolution, the level of these greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, CH4, methane, as well as N2O and other such gases has increased. This has led to warming which is not desired and thus leading to temperature rise over the planet.
And what is the level of carbon dioxide which is generally regarded as a permissible, and what is the level that we are having now?
Sir, currently we have crossed the 415 ppm limit. However, sir, it is almost double pre-industrial revolution.
Yes.
And thus we need to reduce it by at least 45% by 2030, sir, carbon emissions.
Okay, correct. Permissible limit is generally 350, should not exceed 350. It is almost 415. Can you tell me that why earthquakes are formed?
Sir, earthquake can be because of various reasons. One, tectonic earthquake, which is because of the release of energy at the plate boundaries. However, sir, other types of earthquake because of reservoir-induced earthquake, as well as earthquakes due to explosion. Sir, these all result in shaking of the earth, leading to earthquake.
And similar thing happens on moon also. What are they called?
Sir, I think they are called moonquakes.
Yes, but moonquakes, what is the basic reason for moonquakes there? Besides this, what you have just mentioned in the case of Earth, there are some other elements also which gives rise to moonquakes.
Sir, I'm not able to recall the exact.
The extreme temperatures,
Yes.
because it becomes 250 degrees, Fahrenheit and goes down and so on. Okay, what's this aurora borealis?
Yes, sir. Aurora borealis, also called the northern lights, are because of the interaction between our magnetosphere and the cosmic solar waves from the sun, which interact, leading to formation of aurora borealis.
Why does it happen only on the poles?
Sir, because our magnetic field is such situated that the cosmic rays are able to reach closest at the poles, and thus we have this grand visual of aurora borealis.
Why it is advised not to sleep in north and south direction?
Sir, this is because of the magnetic field. It is often said that our body's magnetic field aligns opposite to that of Earth's magnetic field, and thus it leads to higher BP and other such problems.
Yeah. Can you tell me what is the relationship between development and democracy? Can you give an example where democratic institutions have led to greater development?
Yes, sir. I do believe that democracy leads to a more inclusive development. For example, sir, most of the authoritarian regimes like that of Latin America have seen growth but not development because the growth has not been inclusive. While countries like India and USA have relatively seen more inclusive growth due to democratic institutions.
Okay, so can you give an example through one of the constitutional amendments? The development in certain parts of the country was given a flip because of democratic institutions.
Sir, I do not recall exactly.
It's a very important amendment. 2 amendments took place.
Sir, one is the education.
Development that takes place in a district. That's the hint.
So the 73rd and 74th
Yeah,
constitutional
74th.
amendment
Yeah.
have more.
So that is how the development in the villages got a fillip. When you gave funds, functions, and functionaries power, empowering of the panchayats and zilla parishads and block. Okay,
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So, can you tell me why democracy survived in India and took roots, but it has failed to do so in our neighborhood?
Sir, this can be attributed to multiple reasons. First, because we had leaders who had faith in democracy and our freedom movement, which was based on non-violence and democratic principles. So, second being, we are able to build democratic institutions from the onset itself. And third being, sir, our pluralism as well as inclusiveness in our society, which has been part and parcel from long back, not just during the British period or post-independence.
Okay. Can you tell me some of the structural weaknesses in our economy?
Sir, some of the structural weaknesses which are, for example, land acquisition is one of the concerns which has been raised by economists. So second being, labor reforms have only recently been started, which have been pending from long time. So third being the logistics cost, which is 14% of GDP, which is higher than that of the developed countries. So these are the main as well as small industrial base. We have only 16% contribution to manufacturing. So these are some of the headwinds in economies.
Okay. Is Parliament supreme and sovereign?
No, sir. In India, Parliament is not supreme. We have a constitutional supremacy in India.
Okay. Can you cite an example of parliamentary supremacy anywhere else in the world?
Yes, sir. Britain is an example of parliamentary supremacy.
Okay. And what about the NJAC? Why aren't they putting it? Government can put it in the 9th schedule and the problem is solved. Can they do it?
No, sir, because the Supreme Court has ruled that the 9th schedule is also can be come under judicial review, and also that nothing can violate the basic structured doctrine which have been established in the Keshwanand Bharati judgment.
Okay. Very well. Thank you.
Have you heard of a term called military geography?
No, sir, I have not read about something called military geography.
What do you think it could be?
Sir, it can be the impact of geography on strategic decisions taken by the military.
Okay. There is one sea about which somebody had said that if you control this sea, he controls the world. What was that sea?
Sorry, sir.
Okay. You know where Mediterranean is?
Yes, sir.
So that it was about that sea. Now you tell me, why did somebody say that he who controls Mediterranean controls the world?
Sir, often said by many strategic geographers like Rimland theory as well as Heartland theory, it is said that those who control Eastern Europe often control the world island, and control of Mediterranean Sea gives the control of Western Europe as well as the nearby regions of North Africa, and thus it gives us control of the world island, and thus.
Okay, good. Now, where are the Alps mountains?
Sir, they are located in Europe.
Europe. So there was a king from North Africa who had crossed Alps in winters with elephants. What was his name?
Sorry, sir.
Anyway, read about it. Very interesting, because geographers like you say that geography provides you security. It provides you some security. It doesn't provide you 100% security. All right. Are you a perfect man?
No, sir, I do not think I am a perfect man. But
Okay. What do you need to change to try and become perfect?
Sir, I think I need to keep improving, because perfection is something which cannot be achieved. Just improvement and improvement.
Okay. So what will you improve about yourself? What do you think you need to improve?
Sir, one thing I need to exercise more regularly than I do now.
What else?
Sir, second is that.
And why don't you exercise regularly?
Sir, I do exercise, but not for large durations, only 30 minutes.
Whom do you blame for this?
Sir, myself.
And what part of your, what in terms of habits, in terms of what will you blame it on? Lack of willpower or lack of something else?
Sir, I cannot blame it on lack of time, so it will be on lack of willpower only, because if we can try, then we can exercise for larger time, but I do not.
Okay, explain to me the Chinese. You heard of Chinese BRI?
Yes, yes.
What is it? What is the full form of BRI?
Sir, Belt and Road Initiative.
Please explain to me BRI with the help of geography.
Sir, Belt and Road Initiative is an infrastructure and investment project by China, which connects China to Eastern Europe, as far as Eastern Europe, as well as countries like Bangladesh and Pakistan. So thus connecting China to major economies of the world provides China an advantage over other countries like USA and India, which China has been using through debt trap as well as trade as a
No,
instrument.
that is correct. Now I said explain this with the help of geography.
Sir, geography, the first thing is resource. With the help of BRI, China aims to tap the resources of countries like Central Asia as well as countries like Afghanistan in recent times. Sir, second being geography of the seas. For example, the Hambantota port has been strategic for China through its string of pearls policy. So these are the two I can think of.
What's a better example? Isn't this Gwadar, Pakistan? It
Yes,
connects
sir.
them to Suez Canal.
Yes.
Isn't it? West Asia. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Ananya, you are a chemical engineer. Which sectors of our economy involve the use of chemical engineering?
So the petroleum industry is the most important, which uses chemical engineering. The second being the pharmaceutical industry. So the third being the polymer and the plastic industry. So these are the major sectors which.
What about pharmaceutical industries?
So the major active pharmaceutical ingredients as well as major solvents and creation.
Petrochemicals.
Yes.
Okay. When you become DM, you will come across many cases where industrial effluents are allowed to go into the lakes and rivers and they get polluted by this. What action are you going to take against the offenders?
So the first thing is that we need to see that if there is any statute, environmental statute or other which the company violates, if it violates, first legal action can be taken. But if there are no such statute, the company can be persuaded to use its CSR funds for the environmental as well as social benefits which accrues from such cleanings.
But there are guidelines
Yes.
that flow of industrial effluents must be stopped. They should not be allowed, and heavy penalties are prescribed for this.
Sir, that's why most of the companies have water treating facilities inside the campus, and those who do not need to pay a fine as well as need to install those purification systems.
How do you treat the industrial effluents?
Sir, one thing is that they are often, first cooling tower is used to reduce the temperature of the water. Sir, second, reverse osmosis is also used to filter the effluents, and other such processes, for example, removal of hazardous chemicals like H2SO4, etc., are treated separately.
Okay, thank you. Achha, let us talk. You have given IPS as your number 2 preference.
Yes.
What is your view about the VVIP securities, where thousands of police corps are deployed on the security of politicians? Is it really necessary?
Sir, I do think that it causes civil difficulties because of halt of traffic, etc. But we cannot say that it is not required, because the recent killing of the Minister of Odisha government has only highlighted the security lapses which we have. So on one hand, we can reduce the total number of personnel, but we need to improve our security of the important leaders as well as others.
I think getting security cover is more a status symbol than a necessity.
Yes, sir. We can say that not only in our bureaucratic setup, but the culture has been such that large number of police personnel is often equated with status and pride, but that should not be the case. If that is the case, then I do oppose the deployment of such large personnel for security.
And which agency measures the threat perceptions to a particular person?
Sir, I think that it is Intelligence Bureau.
Intelligence Bureau. But it's all, Intelligence Bureau can give you any report. It may be correct, it may not be correct.
Sir, but we cannot risk the life of person.
What about the common man? He is the most insecure person.
Yes, sir. For that, our Prime Minister has been an example in which ambulances and other such important critical utilities are allowed even if there are security personnel passing. Sir, these steps can be more formalized and the standard operating procedure can be included in those manuals.
Do you know the police public ratio in our country?
Yes,
Very
sir.
low.
It is around 150 per lakh, which, however, 185 has been the which has been the norm, and 210 for other countries.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anunay,
Yes, ma'am.
Bihar has once again missed its renewable energy targets.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think they are not doing?
Ma'am, I believe that the investments in renewable energy and overall sectors in Bihar has been less. This has been one of the reasons. And ma'am, first being the development of renewable energy has been in more renewable rich states like Rajasthan, Gujarat, who have more developed infra. Bihar first, it has land shortages for solar panels, etc., as well as wind energy is not feasible. These are the major reasons, geographical reasons, as well as lack of investment can be said, ma'am.
Can you tell me a few tourism circuits in Bihar?
Ma'am, there have been many tourism circuits which have been developed. For example, Jain circuit, Buddhist circuit, the Sikhism circuit, as well as wellness circuit has been.
Tell me more about the Sikhism circuit.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, the Patna Sahib, where Guru Gobind Singh was born, is one of the important centers of the Sikhism.
Anunay, why is it that even today when we think of Bihar or when we go to Bihar, we think of poor law and order, poor roads, poor infrastructure? When will this image change and how? Do you have any vision for Bihar?
Ma'am, I believe that the infrastructure situation has improved from last 20 years. We have made progress. However, we are lacking on an average from other states. And this can be done through first being developing industries, which is food processing industry, which can generate employment and thus increase the tax revenue of the government. Second being, ma'am, law and order perception needs to be changed. For that, ma'am, the political as well as bureaucratic nexus which is there, that should be broken, and I think we are improving, ma'am.
Okay, have you heard about this recent issue around NPS and OPS?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the issue?
Ma'am, the new pension scheme, which is more based on market-based mechanism, in which the pensioner as well as the government contributes about 10%, whereas the old pension scheme is where 50% of last income drawn is guaranteed in pension. And the fiscal concerns have been raised due to the returning to old pension scheme by some states like Rajasthan and Himachal Pradesh.
Okay, when we talk about political representation of women
Yes.
in Bihar specifically and in India in general, we see that they are puppets of the male counterparts. How do you think we can change this?
Ma'am, this is mostly because, ma'am, the political scenario in India is not, which does not provide a guaranteed career opportunities for women. That thus women often, those who are talented, they also do not pursue politics as a career. So, ma'am, this can be dealt at a multifold level. First, important role models of leaders who have done well can be taught in schools. Second, ma'am, the 108th Constitutional Amendment Bill, which seeks to provide reservation for women, can also be one of the ways. Third being, ma'am, women as a pressure group, in which women as a voter group can be used for empowerment, political empowerment of women.
Okay, let's end this conversation with you sharing 5 names of political leaders, women political leaders who inspired from India.
And the first is Srimati Sushma Swaraj. And second is Srimati Sonia Gandhi. And third is Srimati Jayalalitha. Ma'am, fourth being Meera Kumar, the speaker of erstwhile speaker, and fifth is Sumitra Mahajan.
All right.
All the best to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Unacademy. Let's crack it.